A very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the daily news analysis by Tathastu ICS. I am Umang and today I will be taking your DNA session for the date 29th of July. Okay, so I can see many of the students have joined. Ratan, Raman, Dharma, Deepesh, very good evening. Before moving ahead, this is the information related to the Telegram channel. So you can scan and join the Telegram channel of the DNA session where you will find access to all the PDFs that we are discussing. ठीक है, तो जो भी हम PDFs discuss कर रहे हैं वो इस Telegram channel पे available है. You can join it. Then this is the front page of today's newspaper. So there's a proud moment for India, for the specifically the Indian chess, where we have Divya Deshmukh, who has won the India's first Women World Cup winner. Okay, so that's a important fact news. Okay, now let's move ahead with the articles that we are going to cover. Okay, so in today's newspaper there were not very major articles. Few of the topics were repeated from yesterday's topic only. So the first one is lessons from the past. This is talking about the Chola Empire only. Chola Empire हमने कल पढ़ा था, ठीक है. This is the continuity of the same article only. It's talking the same thing about the legacy of the Chola rulers. Okay, how good their administration was and what learnings can modern India have from the Chola legacy. Okay. Then the second article is talking about the facts related to the justice on hold, meaning that the justice delayed is justice denied. So it is showing some of the figures about how burdened our courts are. So it is talking about courts are clogged. Okay, so we will cover this article. Then there is important fact from your science and tech sector or the section, that is the Nisar Satellite. So we will talk about the Nisar Satellite, what is its ultimate mission. Okay, it has been mounted on the GSLV, that is the Geosynchronous Launch Vehicle, for the launch tomorrow. And then there was a small article which is talking about why antitrust regulations are pertinent. So we will understand what is the meaning of this antitrust policy and why these antitrust regulations are important. Okay, so very good evening all the students who have joined. Let's move ahead with the session now. Coming to the first topic. Okay, now before that, it's 29th of July, which is celebrated as the International Tiger Day. Okay, so 29th of July is celebrated as the International Tiger Day. So 2010 में St. Petersburg, Russia में एक meeting हुई, ठीक है. It was attended by most of the tiger range countries. There are 13 tiger range countries. और वहाँ पर ये बात करी गई, highlight किया गया that we need to conserve and protect the tiger population. Okay, India is also among the tiger range countries. So globally efforts have been started from that time and it is every year celebrated on 29th of July. So tiger conservation, now tiger, you know, it's a flagship species and more importantly it's a keystone species. Keystone species का मतलब क्या होता है? वो species that are very important, that are playing a very major role in that ecosystem. Okay, so their presence or absence will determine how the ecosystem will behave or how the position of the ecosystem is. Okay, so keystone species है because it helps, it's one of the apex predator, top predator होता है tiger, ठीक है. IUCN status is endangered. It comes in the Wildlife Protection Act Schedule 1, so given highest protection. Then we have in our country 1973 mein we had the Project Tiger that was established, okay, when we started working on improving their population and protection measures were taken care. Then there are a lot of initiatives. We had established the National Tiger Conservation Authority, NTCA. National Tiger Conservation Authority was established under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. That was now this is the authority that manages or has a major role in the tiger conservation. Along with that, we have so many other initiatives. The TX2 initiative, meaning doubling the tigers population by 2022. That was also another initiative. Then with that, with the improvement, as per the Wildlife Institute of India, now India is almost having 30682 tigers. Okay, so we started with, if we see the figures from 2006, तो हम देखते हैं उस टाइम 1411 tigers थे, and with the years, with the efforts that are being taken by the government and the other authorities, the tiger population is increasing. Okay, so this is important for you for the exam, of course. Then along with that, the tiger reserves in the country, they are important from the static point of view. Okay, so you can revise that. Now let's come to the first article. Now the first article is lessons from the past. Now yesterday only we had studied about the, just a second, yesterday only we had studied about the Adi Tiruvitharai festival at Gangaikonda, Cholapuram, which is marking the birth anniversary of Rajendra Chola. And the Honorable PM was also there, and his father's legacy, that is Raja Chola. Yesterday only we had discussed everything about them. Now here the PM is highlighting what? That we can learn from their legacy. What can we learn from the Cholas? What can we learn? We know that they were good in architecture. That was the first thing. Okay, architecture, or I would say construction also. Now in previous few weeks we had studied that there were so many incidents in present day India where we had a bridge that was collapsed. Vadodara incident we all know, Vadodara में क्या हुआ, ठीक है. इस तरीके के कंस्ट्रक्शन जो ब्रिजेस हो रहे हैं आज की डेट में, जब इतनी टेक्नोलॉजी हमारे पास है तब हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कोलैप्स हो रहा है. And then there stands this Brihadeswara temple that was built thousands of years back. Okay, how come those infrastructures are still standing? What is the product that they have used? How come they have such a resilient infrastructure? So this is what we need to learn from the Chola Empire. That is what is one thing. Okay, so that has been highlighted in the article, that 1000 years back. Then the second thing that we can learn is the maritime expeditions that we had studied yesterday. They were maritime, they were good in the navy, they had a good naval force, they had maritime expeditions to the Southeast Asian countries, which present day aligns with the Act East policy and the Sagar vision. That is what is the alignment in today's world we can see. Along with that, we can also see, now this is here they have mentioned in creating the infrastructure, especially the Cholas. Recent months there have been fatal incidents involving the civic structures. The resilience of the Brihadeswar temple, which has stood almost 1000 years, provides us the learning. What kind of material was used? Okay, then what was the superstructure of these temples? So we can go and study these temples and their structures, and then we can implement that. Okay, along with that, coming to the administration of the Cholas, that was also one of the major point. So they were good with the administration. So management of the water resources was done very efficiently, and specifically if we talk about the Kaveri Delta, so we can do what at present day also we have so many villages that are scarce or facing the scarcity of water. So when that time everything could have been managed, why cannot we do or achieve it in today's present India? That is what are the lessons that we can learn from the past, or the lessons from the Chola Empire. Okay, so in this small article they are discussing only these 2-3 points. Okay, so you can just go through the major points. And also one thing, that the infrastructure was so resilient, so strong, that it has overpowered, or it has been able to survive the major earthquakes that have happened in the country. Okay, so ऐसा तो है नहीं कि earthquakes नहीं आए, earthquakes आए, but still वो temples, वो structures आज भी resiliently खड़े हैं, they are standing at their own place without any damage. So that is the engineering techniques that we can learn. Then coming to the next article that is important from your GS paper 2. So it is talking about justice on hold. So here we are sharing lot of data. So let's just see what they are mentioning here. Just a second. Now what are the major key takeaways from this article? The magnitude of judicial pendency. Judicial pendency meaning how many cases are pending in the courts. Okay, so over 5 crore cases are pending in Indian courts. If we see Supreme Court 86,000 cases, High Court 63 lakh cases, district and subordinate courts in crores, almost in crores the cases are pending. Now there are delays in the civil and the criminal cases also. Criminal cases are resolved faster than civil cases all along the country. तो आज भी हम देखते हैं कि जो civil cases हैं, for example property disputes, उनमें बहुत ज़्यादा time लगता है compared to the criminal cases. Then district civil courts have the biggest backlogs. Only 38.7% of the civil cases are resolved within a year, and nearly 20% stretch beyond 5 years. Okay, so these are the facts that have been highlighted. The judge strength and the structural gaps are also there. So Indian judiciary is presently operating only 79% of its sanctioned capacity, meaning जितनी capacity होनी चाहिए थी उतनी नहीं है, उससे कम है. So we are operating at 79% of the capacity. Vacant posts, if we see, almost 5,600 posts are vacant. Then district courts have just 18 judges per 10 lakh population. Now imagine, per 10 lakh population we have only 18 judges. So of course it will take time for the cases to get resolved. Even at full capacity, India will only have 19 judges per 10 lakh, far too short what the law commissions have recommended, which is 50 judges per 10 lakh population. That is what we had to achieve, 50 judges per 10 lakh cases. Okay, so we are falling short. These are the major figures that have been highlighted in the article. Now there are also systemic causes of the delay. For example, mandated timelines for different case types, then efficient case management and scheduling, monitoring and tracking mechanisms, these are also lacking. Okay, then frequent adjournments are there, procedural hurdles are there, infrastructural inadequacies are also there. Okay, nature of civil disputes add to the complexity, because we know civil cases involve multiple people are there, multiple records have to be checked, land records check करने होते हैं, land records को आपको retrieve करवाना पड़ता है, तो it's a long process. Okay, it takes time. The president had also remarked the black coat syndrome. What is the meaning of black coat syndrome? Citizens are increasingly hesitant to approach the courts due to delay concerns, which is affecting the public's trust in the judiciary. So that has been highlighted as the black coat syndrome. This is important for you to remember. Okay, what is the meaning of black coat syndrome? Okay, लोग हेजिटेट करते हैं कोर्ट में जाने से, बिकॉज दे नो कि अरे कोर्ट में तो बहुत ज़्यादा ही टाइम लगने वाला है, एंड दिस इज अफेक्टिंग द ट्रस्ट दैट द पीपल हैड ऑन द जुडिशरी. What can be done? We can have alternate dispute resolution mechanisms. So that is the way forward. For example, we can have the mediation cells. So mediation is another method, arbitration. Then we have the lok adalats. Lok adalats are held. So lok adalats can ease the pressure on the courts. So these are the major things. For example, अगर हम national lok adalat का data देखें, तो national lok adalat ने resolve करे हैं 27.5 crore cases, okay, 22 crore pre-litigation cases and 5.3 pending cases. So these all things can be done by the help of the lok adalats. Okay, so the lok adalats will help in easing out the burden of the courts. That is the alternative way. What all other things can be done? Of course, judicial reforms are important. Judicial reforms यानी judiciary system के अंदर reforms लाना. Number 1, पहले तो vacancies को fill करेंगे, right? We should have the appropriate number of judges for the courts. Then we strengthen the infrastructure. We can have more courts. We can have digital tools, support staff that is required. We can have mandating the timelines, avoiding the prolonged limitation by having the timelines for the cases. एक timeline format हो. Then we can have the increased budgets, allocating more funds to the judiciary for improvements. Of course, everything will, infrastructure development will require the money also, okay. Promote alternative dispute resolution processes and implement the systems. For example, time bound hearing for the case management. So these are some of the major reforms or measures or that can be taken care so that we can reduce the pendency in the cases. Okay, I will take the session on Operation Mahadev. Raman Upadhyay, beta, you can get the class PDF from the Telegram channel and it is also attached in the description. If it is not attached, I will just get it attached, don't worry, okay. You can get the PDF from the Telegram channel, just scan and join the Telegram channel of the DNA session, okay. Then the next important news is from your Science and Tech section, okay, Science and Technology, GS paper 3. So here we are talking about the Nisar Satellite. तो ये Nisar Satellite क्या है? So it is the NASA and ISRO, both are there, NASA is there and ISRO is there. Synthetic aperture satellite on Wednesday, the Indian ISRO on Monday announced that the satellite has been mounted to the GSLV, that is the geosynchronous launch vehicle, which launches the higher or heavier satellites to the geosynchronous orbit, and it will be utilized for watching the Earth. Of course, this 2300 kg satellite, this will be observing, it will be the first satellite to observe the Earth with a dual synthetic aperture. That is there is a radar there which is having the dual mechanisms, okay. That is NASA's L band and ISRO's S band, L band and S band. So it is a dual synthetic aperture radar, both using NASA's 12-meter infrared mesh antenna and integrated with ISRO's modified 13 IK satellite bus. What is the mission life? It is 5 years and it will observe the Earth's surface. And what is a unique point about this? That for the first time we are using a technology that is the sweep SAR technology. Sweep SAR technology. This is being used for the first time. Okay, so basically इसको अगर हम समझे sweep SAR technology को, so it will help in covering a wider area of the Earth, and while covering or capturing the images of the Earth with a wider coverage, it will also be, it is so strong that it will help in getting all the peculiar details also. So it is a very advanced form of technology. Okay, so sweep SAR technology. So you need to know that it is being used for the first time. Okay, so this is all about the NASA Nisar satellite and it has been launched in the Sriharikota. Okay, then coming to the next article, that is why antitrust regulations are pertinent. यहाँ इस article का मतलब include करने का मेरा main mission ये था that you should know what is the meaning of antitrust regulations. इनका मतलब क्या होता है? So antitrust regulations का मतलब है any policy which or regulation which helps in ensuring a parity among the all the companies. Okay, ऐसा ना हो कि कोई एक particular company dominate करे और बाकी companies को एक fair chance ना मिले. So antitrust policy या regulations वो होते हैं, ठीक है, which helps in ensuring that there is no one company that dominates in the market. Okay, so here we are talking about the digital industry or the digital market. Okay, so why antitrust matters? Number one, it helps in preventing the monopoly of the companies and also gives a fair chance to other smaller companies or the native companies of a country. Okay, so no big player can dominate. Now here in this article they were talking about the digital space or the digital economy, which is almost having 11.74% share in our GDP, and it is important because India के अंदर बहुत सारे digital innovations चल रहे हैं, digital programs चल रहे हैं हमारे. We are also now almost in digitalized economy. We have so many schemes, everything is being worked on the digital platforms. So there is a startup system also that has also grown. But what we can see, there are certain companies like Google. Okay, so here they are discussing about Google's dominance. So the Android has 95% market share in India, and it controls how the apps are discovered, how the apps can be downloaded. So this company is having a major hold or a dominance, right? It also charges a high commission and controls and limits the access for certain apps. For example, 2022 में एक pilot program launch करा था Google ने on the App Store. So only 2 games were allowed. Rumi was one game and there was another game that was allowed to be downloaded. The other games were not getting opportunity to be there on the Play Store. So this is called the dominance that a company has, right? So this has been discussed here. This is not that important. What we need to know, the meaning of antitrust policy. Okay, and here in this article he is talking about that we need to have an antitrust regulation for the IT sector in the country. That has been discussed by the writer. Okay, so this is all about the major articles that we have discussed from the today's newspaper. Apart from that, if you have anything, just let me know. Anyone else? PDF Raman you will get from the Telegram channel. Anything else? Okay, if you have any doubt, just mention it in the comment box. I will definitely revert, and see you all tomorrow again. Keep reading, keep revising, try to read the newspaper articles yourself too, because that cannot supplement your own skills, because it is very important for you to read and understand yourself also. हो सकता है शुरू में it will be very difficult, but eventually you will start understanding. Okay, because ultimately you need to practice comprehensions also. You need to attempt comprehension questions in CSAT paper. So how will you learn to do that? Only when you are reading and comprehending and understanding, and that habit can be easily developed by reading the newspaper. So try to read the articles yourself also in given time frame. Okay, so that's all for the day. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow again. Thank you.